Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics. And whilst the Conservative government passes the buck around themselves in the face of a rapidly collapsing economic situation, the last sensible Prime Minister we've had has urged the current government to get a grip and act. And even given the paralysis that the Tory leadership contest is creating, he has a straightforward plan to deal with things, if only the Tories cared. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So the Bank of England has forecast a truly awful scenario. I may have mentioned it once or twice in the last couple of days. A recession lasting over a year. Even before this unhappy event, the cost of living was already out of control. Consider that hard-working families have been unable to afford the basics without major government support for some time. And we weren't in recession. We're still not. Imagine how awful the situation is going to be when we are. The government need to act, and they need to act now. And it's like any problem. If you delay, applying the solution is more difficult and the results are less likely to be good. The government have advance notice of the mess coming this autumn, and now is the time to get things in place. But says Boris Johnson, whilst he's on holiday yet again while the country's in crisis. Well, you see, there's going to be a new Prime Minister in a few weeks, he argues. And so, he can't make major policy decisions. And in a sense, it is true. Given that Boris Johnson is currently a lame duck Prime Minister, he can't make major policy announcements because it would be pointless. Because we'd be talking about policy announcements here designed to deal with things in October. So he would say, well, my success, I could put this thing in place, no problem. But it would be a waste of public resources because my successor could come in and abandon them before they're even implemented. But there is another way. And Gordon Brown's been explaining. So Boris Johnson is not supposed to be making major decisions. And we cannot know for certain who will be making those major decisions. But we do know that it is either Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak. So why not get all three together to agree a plan of action, Brown suggests? Because although Johnson is not supposed to make major policy announcements, he has the authority to do so. It's just a convention, and we know what Boris Johnson thinks about conventions. So if both Sunak and Truss can agree on at least part of the necessary solutions, then if Johnson puts the plan in motion, there's no danger of the next Prime Minister cancelling it, because they've already agreed to it. And sure, Truss and Sunak have different economic views, so nobody expects them to agree a comprehensive plan just yet. But there must be things they would agree on. And, with Johnson and senior civil servants on hand to advise, they can at least get something going. And it's also politically stupid for the Tories not to as well. I keep saying this. It's one thing to be ruled by evil people. This happens. Evil people are motivated to find positions of power. It offends me to be ruled by stupid, evil people. Imagine the scenario. Boris Johnson comes back off his jollies and gets Sunak and Truss round the table to discuss emergency budgets. They all agree on at least a partial plan of action. Johnson orders officials to begin the process so that it'll be in place for autumn. The new Prime Minister, once chosen in a few weeks, works on the other solutions, which did not find agreement between the two candidates, and that is implemented the following month. What does that look like to the public? It looks like a government that is taking their concerns seriously. And at a time when the party is splitting, it also presents a united front between the leadership rivals who have put the country ahead of their battle. It would be a stunning political show of strength and unity. But they're not doing. Because Boris Johnson doesn't give a monkeys, and neither Truss nor Sunak are interested in working collaboratively on a problem they also don't care about. So what's the alternative? Well, Gordon Brown has explained how the government can act without falling back on their leadership contest excuse. Secondly, Labour are working on a plan which they will urge the government to adopt. So if the Conservatives don't pull the finger out, what's actually going to happen is this. Before the summer recess is over, Labour will have formulated their plan and presented it to the public. the government will find themselves having to either refuse to go along with it, in which case the crisis becomes much worse, or adopt some or all of the measures, in which case, yet again, they will be doing belatedly what Labour have urged them to do sooner. This is what happened earlier this year. The government refused to announce support in their spring budget statement. Later on, they were forced to adopt some of the measures that Labour and others were pushing, and they ended up looking like they were playing catch-up. And you notice that in both scenarios, the Tory government still has to do something to help people. It's totally untenable to do nothing. Liz Truss says she's not going to do anything. Absolute failure. It really is a case of whether they seize the initiative and look like a government, or do they wait for Labour to tell them what to do and look like they're just keeping the seat warm for the next Labour government? Should be a no-brainer. If the government do not act before Labour finalise their own plan, they are going to lose out on showing that they have the initiative. Because no matter how much they claim that their plan will be better, because that's what they'll do. Eventually, belatedly, they'll come out with their own plan and they'll say, oh, Labour's plan totally wouldn't have worked. Our plan's better. That's what they'll do. But it'll be impossible to do anything that doesn't look an awful lot like a more diluted version of Labour's plan. Because for a start, Labour have called for VAT on energy bills to be removed. Something the Tories, who are now in government, promised as part of their Brexit campaign. Oh yeah, we'll get rid of VAT on energy. All right, why haven't you then? Oh, reasons. It'll also include measures to scrap the tax breaks for the oil companies who are currently printing their own money and are the last people who need tax relief. Obviously, the Tories are not minded to do either of these things. They don't want to scrap the tax breaks because their party exists to support the billionaires' greed. It always has been. They also don't want to cut VAT on anything because this is a tax where the burden falls largely on the poor. Tories love that. Oh, they absolutely love it. With income tax and national insurance, they sort of have to make sure poorer people pay less, not with VAT. So they don't want to scrap that. But imagine how that looks to the public who can't afford to pay their bills. Labour present a plan that's easy for the public to see, that makes things way easier for ordinary voters, and the Tories initially refuse to do anything, and when the position becomes untenable, they adopt weaker measures. And here's the thing, those members of the public, when the government finally do bring some support in and go, oh, thank goodness for that bit of relief, but then they'll be thinking, but we're still struggling to pay the bills here. And Labour were promising more. You know, the government should be urgently wanting to get a plan announced before Labour to completely cut the ground from beneath Starmer's feet. If the Tories cannot even get something as strategically obvious as this done, they really are in trouble. But like I say, they're not likely to appreciate the urgency. Boris Johnson isn't interested in the party looking like it's in control. In fact, he'd welcome the chance to have the Conservatives lose ground against Labour. Helps him push the narrative that they made a mistake in getting rid of him. And this isn't just a crisis that's billed as a crisis in the media. This is something that nobody needs a newspaper to explain to them as a crisis. They can see the financial problems they have. You know, the latest is that over half of households will be spending at least 10% of their income on fuel by the end of the year. And there's also going to be a distressing number of households spending about a third of their income. A third of your income on fuel. In the late 70s, there was a winter of discontent, which cost the then Labour government the following election. But that election was just a few months later. On this occasion, Conservatives have more time. They've got a couple of years and they may think that they've got time to turn it around. But given that nobody serious is forecasting good times before that election, even if it is as late as January 2025, and if they leave it as late as that, they'll be in another winter of discontent. Voters are unlikely to forget the pain of this winter or next winter. Impossible budget decisions for hard-working families. The Tories always talk about wanting to make hard work pay. Well, guess what? It doesn't. There will also be higher prices of other essentials like food, as well as supply issues there. It really cannot have escaped people's notice that fresh food these days in this country only has a few days before it goes off. I got some onions last week. A few days later when I came to using them, they were just very much past their best. And they were in the fridge. You know, then there'll be the collapse of the NHS this winter as well, and a surely undeniable resurgence of infections, especially from coronavirus. You know, if the Conservatives continue to twiddle their thumbs, they're not going to survive this winter. And if they act late, they'll be letting Labour be seen as the leaders. You know, their only credible choice is to act now, act decisively, but they're not doing. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.